Welcome to this episode of Design Talk by DIY3DTech.com. In this episode, I want to talk about this rather simple minimalistic design that I came up with and the things that I had to take into account when creating this design. Now, for my shop that I'm building, I purchased from Menards this big box building store, this industrial shelving, which I'm making into benches. And part of it has these struts on the side that I thought would be really neat for mounting some screwdrivers to, like this. So what I did was came up with this sort of universal bracket which I could attach, and it would snap on and snap off the side of the bench, and because I didn't want to drill into the actual metal of the shelving. So if I want to reuse it for something in the future, I can, but yet I wanted something functional that isn't going to warp or break down. Now for the material, I did select PLA for the fact it's easy. I like working with PLA. In addition, it's very rigid, so you are not going to get the spring you would out of an ABS. I think PETG would also be a good alternative too. But when I set out the design, one of the things that you notice is how this is carrying the load. And this is what I wanted to talk a little bit about in this drawing. So when you look at a design, especially if it's going to be mechanical, you really have to take a look at where the forces are actually going to be. Now, one of the things that you can see with this is my weight is actually kind of cantilevered out, so it's out this way, and obviously gravity is pulling down. So my load is extended out forward horizontally, and then gravity is obviously pulling vertical. So then I have to take a look at how are the other forces working on this design. And one of the pieces is, because of this cantilevered, or the center of gravity being moved out this way, I'm going to have forces pulling up on the back of this. And with this, I need to counteract this force with another force. And this is one of the reasons I actually added this little nubbing here, if you will, to actually catch the backside of the shelf. Now, the majority of the weight is going to actually be borne in the front here. And by doing this, it allows me to kind of balance the weight between the two, or the distribution, and prevent it from pulling up on this backside. So very simple addition. So again, when we're looking at designing a part, we really have to take a look at how is the load going to be applied to the part to kind of make some smart decisions. Now, also in this design is, if you notice here, I have them in parallel. So I have two of them that are going to be working in the same direction. But what if I want to make this more universal? And so if you notice, I left a similar nubbing here, so I can actually turn this upside down, so I can now mount something. Say I want to take a piece of pegboard or something else and mount it this way between the two. This will hold tension, keep this bracket from falling down. So again, I have other forces coming this way wanting to pull this down. So I have a counteracting force by having this little nubbing. So again, when you're talking about design and designing a part for an application, what you really want to do is, again, look at how all the different forces are going to come into play. And so when I actually set out to model something like this, I actually work through a bit of this, and sometimes actually on paper. And this is one of the things I did here, and this is why I wanted to share it with you guys, is I had originally started out just to be a hook, and then I got thinking about the force load on this, and I started thinking, it would be good to add these. And then I got to be thinking, well, what if I want to make this more universal to do other things? What if I want to turn it upside down? Well, then I need one right here. And so I actually went into Tinkercad and whipped this up really quick just by creating a block and then differencing out the center, and boom, I have this. So very minimalistic, very simple, but very practical. And actually, aesthetically, it looks pretty interesting, because if you take a look at this, I mean, it actually looks pretty functional. Now, one of the pieces, I also left a tab space here, because as you can maybe see here, here's where the screws come in below that. Now, I kind of adjusted it to the bottom of this piece. I could have moved it up, down, changed it a little bit, but this is where it worked out. But I wanted to leave this space here to attach whatever I wanted to. Now, I just used some self-tapping screws in here to attach this. No big deal, and again, the weight's not that much. And so again, I can just snap this on and off my bench. I can also build now other pieces which I can attach via these self-tapping screws to this, and attach the bench and clip it on and clip it off without damaging the bench itself. Also now I'm going to do another one where, because on the bench itself there's two struts, and this is mounted on the top strut, but there's also a matching bottom one where now I can take pegboard and again place, you know, a hole here and here, and then we use 4 of them to mount a pegboard to the side of my workbench. So anyways, wanted to share this with you, a little bit of design thinking. When we're starting to look at parts and design parts, take a look at where your center of gravity for the load is going to be. Keep that in mind in your design. Also keep in mind, and if you have to draw it out, actually draw it on a piece of paper like this, where are your forces going to be. And then secondly, you know, do you want this to be universal? Is this a one-trick pony where it's just going to go in one orientation? Can it be used in other orientations? What's its other options? Because a good design should be able to be used in multiple applications. And again, you know, a lot of times simpler is better. And again, this is a very simple build and a very functional build. So hopefully you found it interesting. If you did, hey, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget that subscribe button, hit the bell, and up in the corner is the swag shop and help us out. Got a lot of cool swag out there, and I'll have this out on Thingiverse. So if you kind of want to see what it looks like and everything, it'll be out there. And if you get this shelving from Menards, I'd probably put a link to that too. It works great as workbenches and add-ons. So with that, we'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.
Please click like below and subscribe to the channel.